Formative assessment is important because it provides a feedback to the teacher and the learners to pinpoint areas where the student has failed so that failure is rectified. The question is, what is the level of support teacher received on using formative assessment? Good day to our dear panelists and to our audience. My name is Divina Maika Ikuda. Together with me is Ma'am Lilian Cervantes, Maya Lindsay Fernando, Evangeline L. Lacsamana, Jeline Orfeo, Tony Padul, Kimberly Rodriguez, Gretchen Quijeda, and today we are going to present our research entitled Teachers' Level of Support Received on Using Formative Assessment. For the first part, the abstract, it will be discussed by Ma'am Evangeline Lacsamana.
Good day, panelists. I am Evangeline Lacsamana and I am going to discuss the abstract of our study. This study focused on the level of support teachers received on using formative assessment among 50 selected public school elementary teachers from Dumaran District Division of Palawan. The researchers used 7-point Likert scale to identify the level of support teachers received in terms of the importance and use of formative assessment, identify the level of support for professional development, and to identify the level of leadership and administrative support teachers receive in applying formative assessment. This study is a quantitative research that employs a descriptive survey using statistical tests. Descriptive statistics such as percentage, mean, and standard deviation were used to analyze the data. The study reveals that teachers from the Dumaran district is receiving high level of support from the division and schools for formative assessment in terms of the importance and use of formative assessment, professional development, and leadership and administrative support. Results have shown that there is no significant difference on the level of support teachers receive when they are grouped according to age, classification of ranks, and length of service. This study recommended that district and school administrators should establish professional development opportunities, provide teachers with ongoing support, and the use of online spaces and resources to provide support in using formative assessment. And finally, that support the school leaders provide impacts teachers' working conditions and abilities to successfully monitor student learning and to be able to assess the weaknesses and strengths of students.
Hello everyone, my name is Jelaine B. Arceo and I assign for the introduction of our research. The researchers focus much of their attention in studying the importance of formative assessment. Dr. Gia also provides a different question. For the question number 1, what is formative assessment? Formative is any assessment that is used to improve teaching and learning. Formative assessment is a three-step process by which evidence is collected, interpreted, and used. Best practice formative assessment uses a rigorous approach in which each step of the assessment process is carefully thought through. For the second question, what's global's perspective we have about formative assessment? According to the UNESCO Program on Teaching and Learning for the Sustainable Future, formative assessment refers to the ongoing forms of assessment that are closely linked to the learning process. For the question number 3, what is the government's program on formative assessment? According to DepEd Order number 12, series of 2020, titled Adaptations of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, for the school year 2020-2021, in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic, to supplement the DepEd order, the DepEd issues the interim policy guidelines for assessments and grading in the light of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, to provide the guidance on the assessment of students' learning and on the grading scheme to be adapted. And for the last question, what division's program we have on formative assessment? The Division of Palawan also implemented these kinds of learning modalities and involves teachers using evidence about what learners know and can do, and to inform and improve their teaching. Teachers observe and guide learners in their tasks through home visitations and monitoring. thus gaining deeper insights on the learner's progress, strengths, weaknesses, and needs.
Good day, everyone. I'm Maylin C. Fernando, who want to present to you the review of related literature. According to Trumbull, E. and Lush A. 2013, there can be no prescription for what a single instance of formative assessment should like. According to Clark, 2011, not all feedback is formative. Feedback is formative if students are encouraged to engage in reflection on their own solution, are provided with appropriate scaffolding to help them move forward with their task, understand the criteria for success, and are activated as owners of their own learning. Clark 2010 also stated that giving a student specific strategies he or she could implement in similar future problems would be considered formative feedback. In IKE 2010, formative assessment should empower the learner to correct his or her own errors. Black and McCormick 2010, criticism should be avoided as negative feedback can cause undesirable shift in attribution in students. According to Ruth Dunn 2014, feedback is an aspect of the learning environment which students may use with varying degrees of sophistication. Students are invited to engage with it in how sensitive it is to other motivational and emotional states which the student brings to the learning experience. Feedback is information provided by an agent, example, teacher, peer, parent, the assessment itself, regarding aspects of one's performance or understanding, according to Hattie and Timperley, 2007, page 81. Feedback takes on a formative role when it provides information about the gap between a student's current understanding and the desired level of understanding. It is most effective for the student when it is targeted at the right developmental level and helps the students identify ways to close the gap, according to Hattie and Timperley, 2007, Sadlier, 1989. For the research paradigm, the teacher-researcher conduct a study about the level of support received by teachers and using formative assessment. They group the variables according to age, classification of rank, and length of service which consider the input. The process of gathering data is through Google Form and pen and paper survey questionnaire. The output of this study is to provide more training opportunities for the development of teachers in using formative assessment.
For the statement of the problem, specifically it aims to answer the following questions. Number 1, what is the level of supports to divisions in schools provide formative assessment? Under number 1, the importance and use of formative assessment, the professional development, and the other supports for formative assessments like leadership and administrative support. For the hypothesis, it is based on the statement of the problem. Number 1, there is no significant difference on the level of support teachers receive on formative assessment when grouped according to age. Number 2, there is no significant difference on the level of support of teachers receive on formative assessment when grouped according to rank. And number 3, there is no significant difference on the level of support teachers receive on formative assessment when grouped according to the length of service. For the significance of the study focused on explaining the teacher's level of support to receive in using formative assessment. Moreover, the result of the study will be beneficial to the following. Number 1, teachers are mentors. The result of the study will help the teachers or mentors provide encouragement to think of ideas that will give proper guidance to the students or mentees. This may also increase their competency. Number 2, guidance staff. The result of the study may provide an assessment of mentoring program, whether it is effective or not. This may also encourage the guidance staff to think of the other activities that will make the students or mentees as well as their teachers or mentors enjoy the program. And for number 3, the parents, the result of the study will help the parents of the respondents feel secured because there are programs in the institutions that will help the children cope and adjust with their studies.
For For the scope and delimitations, the study will focus on the teacher's level of support received for formative assessment in Dumaran District Division of Palawan and how to do division in schools provide for this matter. There are 50 selected public school elementary teachers from Dumaran District as respondents who were possibly chosen to participate for this study. The results of the study will be true only in Dumaran District Division of Palawan. For the definition of terms, number one is assessment. According to Erwin and Brown in 1994, assessment is a systematic basis for making inference about the learning and development of students. Number two, feedback. Feedback is information given to the learner or teacher about the learner's performance relative to learning goals or outcomes. Number three is evaluation. Evaluation as an integral part of the instructional process involves 3 steps. These are identifying and defining the intended outcomes, constructing or selecting tests. Number 3, using the evaluation results to improve learning and teaching. And for number 4, professional development may be used in the reference to a wide variety of specialized training, formal education, or advanced professional learning intended to help administrators, teachers, and other educators improve their professional knowledge, competence, skill, and effectiveness. And last one is the academic support, refers to a wide variety of instructional methods, educational services, or school resources provided to students in the effort to help them accelerate their learning progress, catch up with their peers, meet learning standards, or generally succeed in school.
Hi everyone, I am Connie G. Padol, and I introduce to you about the methodology of this research. The quantitative descriptive design is to collect quantifiable information for statistical analysis. The aim of this research is to determine the level of support to division and schools provide for formative assessment. And investigated and examined are the investigated paths of decision making. Examine the phenomenon through surveys and through statistical analysis. Gathering the data, questionnaires were given out to 50 respondents for statistical representation of the findings in the study. The tool used was developed by GIA 2021. It was designed in a 7-point Likert scale. The questionnaires require information about the demographic profile of the respondents, such as the age, classification of rank, and their length of service.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kimberly D. Rodriguez, and I will discuss the data gathered in Google Form. So this is the Google Form that we made. As you can see, there are 50 responses, which means we met the target 50 respondents. Inside the Google Form is the name, which is optional, the name of school, district, age, rank or designation, and length of service. And the survey questionnaires, it has 13 questions. Questions 1 to 4 answered the objective 1, which is the important use of formative assessment. Questions 5 to 7 answers the objective 2, which is the professional development teachers receive in applying formative assessment. And questions 8 to 13 answered the objective 3, which is the leadership and administrative support teachers receive in applying formative assessment. This is the summary of our data gathered. 13 responses put their name in the survey, and the schools who participated are Bohol, Bacau, Bolo, Kabugawan, Katop, Dumaran Central, Jose P. Pacardo, Nagpadalan, San Juan, Santa Teresita, and Tagumpay. There are 42% in age 31 to 40, 38% in age 21 to 30, 16% in age 41 to 50, and few are in age 51 to 60. For rank or designation, 72% are Teacher 1, 16% are Teacher 2, the rest are Teacher 3, and very few are Master Teacher 1 and Master Teacher 2. For the length of service, 36% is in 3 to 5 years of service, 34% in 6 to 10 years of service, 18% in 11 to 15 years of service, and 6% in 21 to 25 years of service, and 16 to 20 years of service. You can see there in question number 1, very true of me have more responses. In questions number 2, 3, and more, the more responses is in true of me. Same with questions number 5, 6, 7, 8, the more responses is true of me. And also with questions number 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, the more responses is true of me. And this is the paper and pen survey form that we crafted. It has 2 pages, and the statistical tool used in analyzing the data is ANOVA.
Good day everyone, I'm Lilian Cervantes and I'm going to present Table 1 to Table 6. For Table 1, the level of support teachers receive in terms of the importance and the use of formative assessment. Since the weighted mean is 6.165 and the verbal interpretation is high support, it means that the teacher respondents are aware of the importance and use of formative assessment for the improvement of teaching and learning process. Next po, ma'am. Ma'am Erin. So for table 2, as we can see, all indicators have high support. It suggests that the teachers who responded to the STAR usually practice formative assessment in their classes. Table 3 shows all indicators have verbal interpretation of high support. From this table, the indicator 9 rank first. This means that their school leaders will be the first to help them in using formative assessment into their teaching practice. For table number 4, 5, and 6, this table shows that the teacher respondents of the same perception in the importance and use of formative assessment regardless of age, classification of rank, and length of service.
Hello everyone, I'm Gretchen Q. Quijada. And Table 7, 8, and 9, based on statistical analysis, the null hypothesis is accepted, so that there is no significant difference on the level of support for professional development teachers receive in applying formative assessment when they are grouped according to age, classification of ranks, and length of service. And Table 10, 11, and 12, based on statistical analysis, the null hypothesis is accepted, so that there is no significant difference on level of leadership and administrative support teachers receive in applying formative assessment when they are grouped according to age, classification of ranks, and length of service. Analysis. The researchers use 7-point Likert scale to identify the level of support teachers receive in terms of the importance and use of formative assessment. Identify the level of support for professional development teachers receive in applying formative assessment, and to identify the level of leadership and administrative support teachers receive in applying formative assessment. A Likert scale is a reading scale used to assess opinions, attitudes, or behaviors. Likert scales are popular in survey research because they allow you to easily operationalize personality traits or perception. To collect data, you present participants with Likert-type questions or statements and a continuum of possible responses, usually with 5 or 7 items. Each item is given a numerical score so that the data can be analyzed quantitatively. Published by Prita Brandery on July 3, 2020, revised on October 12, 2020. The ANOVA single factor 0.5 degrees of freedom were used to test the significance difference on the level of support teachers receive in the importance and use of formative assessment, level of support for professional development teachers receive in applying formative assessment, and level of leadership and administrative support teachers receive in applying formative assessment when they are grouped according to age, classification of ranks, and length of service. Well, Kenton updated February 8, 2021, analysis used to ANOVA test to determine the influence that independent variables have on the dependent variable in a regression study.
To gain the valid and reliable data, the researcher tried out 50 teachers of Dumaran District. To answer the statement of the problem enumerated in the previous section, below is the summary of findings. The analysis shows the level of support due division and schools provided for formative assessment in terms of letter A, the importance and use of formative assessment. The result shows that the weighted mean for Table 1 is 6.165 and the standard deviation is 5.684143. This means that the teacher in Dumaran District is receiving high support in providing and inculcating the importance of formative assessment. Each indicator received high support. For letter B, professional development received in applying formative assessment, teachers from Dumaran District are receiving high support from the division and schools. The result shows that the weighted mean is 6.193 and the standard deviation is 5.711. Letter C, leadership and administrative support in applying formative assessment. From the table shows the weighted mean is 5.774 and the standard deviation is 5.306. This means that teachers received high support in implementing formative assessment. And there is no significant difference on the level of support teachers received in the importance and use of formative assessment, professional development of teachers received, and leadership and administrative support received when they are grouped according to age, classification of ranks, and length of service.
And for the conclusions, after conducting the online survey about the teacher's level of support received in using formative assessment, the result reveals that the age, rank, and the length of service has no significant effect on the level of support teachers receive on formative assessment. The support given by our education leaders in using formative assessment to the teacher is so important. That support that the school leaders are providing to the teacher impacts the working condition and the ability to successfully monitor students' learning and to be able to assess the weaknesses and strengths of students. Also, shown in the result that teachers are getting high level of support in terms of the importance of and use of formative assessment for the professional development and the high leadership and administrative support for formative assessment. And when a school has high quality working conditions and clear communication, teacher does better even during challenging times. Are the recommendations based on our result? We focus on how division and schools can improve more their leadership and administrative support to teachers in utilizing formative assessment. We give focus on the important roles of our leaders in providing support to the teachers. So the recommendations below are these recommendations. The first one is establish professional development opportunities. So the district and school administrator should work to establish a professional development opportunities that promotes teachers' effectiveness in utilizing formative assessment. It should encourage teachers to participate in learning opportunities with their colleagues that will enhance their knowledge about formative assessment. The second one is provide teachers with ongoing support. The DepEd should provide teachers with constant support that help teachers successfully transfer their professional development to the classroom setting. The third one is the use of ISO. So the division and district should consider the use of our online spaces and resources. These are for the teachers who were assigned far from the city, who has limited access from the internet and to the internet. So the teacher should maximize the use of information and communication technology. These are the references of our research and our study. These are the annexes. We use the letter we sent to the respondents and to the supervisors. And thank you for listening.